Hello, children. Once again, we are back with chapter 4, a French lesson. In the first session, we come to know that Sarah had been to a boarding school in England. There, the children and the teacher are not quite friendly with her. The children pass comments and they pass unpleasant looks, which Sarah notices, but she is not quite embarrassed by all that, and she wants to be friendly with these people. She was really trying to get familiar to all those things or get friendly with the children there, when she notices that her teacher Miss Minchin is also not quite friendly to her, and instead of making her comfortable in the new school environment, she starts commenting or starts using, you can say, some rude words for Sarah, which makes her quite uncomfortable in the new school. So how does Sarah manages all that will be learning in the chapter further. In my previous session, I have told that Miss Minchin commented that Sarah, everything is not happening around because you like it. You seem to be a spoilt child, and your father had arranged a French maid not because you would like it, but because he wants that you should learn the language French, and that is why a French maid was arranged for you. But this Minchin, the teacher, did not want Sarah to speak her state of mind or her feelings or express what the fact was. So we continue with the chapter further. If Sarah had been older or less worried about being quite polite to people, she could have explained herself in a very few words. So, this is in continuity with the previous situation, children, when the teacher was pointing her as a spoiled child. So, the chapter goes further. If Sarah had been older, had Sarah been, she was a little girl only, had she been grown up, means above her age, whatever she was that time, and if she would have been a higher grade child, or she was an ill-mannered, less worried about quite being quite polite, means if she was an ill-mannered girl, or if she was the one who did not care about manners and etiquette, then she would have surely replied back to Miss Minchin whatever she said. She told her that you like things to go on your way. She told that you are a spoiled child and something like that. So the story goes like that: if Sarah was an ill-mannered girl, or was not worried about the manners or something etiquette she did not have, then she might have given reply to Miss Minchin. But as it was means Sarah was not that kind of girl. She felt a flush rising on her cheeks. Instead of getting angry, instead of getting loud on her teacher, what she was feeling little embarrassed and upset inside, and because of that her face became red. Miss Minchin seemed to so absolutely sure that Sarah knew nothing whatsoever of French that she felt as if it would be almost rude to correct her. So Miss Minchin was speaking in a way as if she knew Sarah through and through, and she knew that Sarah did not know a word about French language, and that if she would correct me, she felt as if it would be almost rude to correct her. And Miss Minchin had her own assumptions or own, you can say, feelings about Sarah, and she thought that if I am going to speak more to this girl, then this girl will respond back in a rude tone or in a bad tone, and if any correction will be given to her, then also she would not like to be corrected. The truth was that Sarah could not remember a time when she had not known French. Actually, the fact was that Sarah knew French language right from her birth, because her mother was a French woman. She belonged to France, and that is how the language came naturally to her. And this fact was not known to Miss Minchin, and that is why she was somewhat insulting to Sarah when she spoke that you are a spoiled child. The truth was that Sarah could not remember a time when she had not known French. Her mother had been a French woman and Captain Crew had loved her language, so it happened that Sarah had always heard and been familiar with it. Captain Crew is Sarah's father here, so he was also in love with that language, means he liked the language, and the lady means Sarah's mother was a French woman, so basically the language came naturally to her. It was her mother tongue in a way. So it happened that Sarah had always heard and been familiar with it, means the language was nothing new to her. I have never really learned French, but now see these words, repetition of I, repetition of but shows that Sarah was getting a little nervous. She wanted to make something clear to Miss Minchin, but seeing her rude behavior, her rude tone, her angry words or her harsh words, she could not have that confidence to speak the facts to Miss Minchin. She began trying shyly to make herself clear. So she tried her best but not very confidently to clear what the thing was. And all these words, the repetition, children, I, but shows that the girl got nervous. One of Miss Minchin's chief secret annoyances was that she did not speak French herself. Now here is a basic reason why Miss Minchin had such harsh tone or harsh words while talking to Sarah, that she herself did not know a word of this language. She always tried hard to learn French but could not speak a single word and was desirous of concealing the irritating fact, and she never wanted that this fact should be known to anyone, that she made several attempts to learn the language but she herself was never able to speak that language, and she was desirous of concealing the irritating fact means she wanted कि वो ये सच कभी भी किसी को पता ना चले. She therefore had no intention of laying herself open to innocent questioning by a new little pupil. Here new little pupil is Sarah herself, and I have written the meaning of this entire line there, बच्चे, that she never wanted anyone, especially her students, I have written there it should be her students, to talk about her weakness. And what was her weakness? That she could not speak a word of French there. That is enough. So Sarah was trying to speak the sentence that I never really learned French, something like that. So Miss Minchin got a little annoyed again, and she said, that is enough. She said with polite sarcasm, though her tone was quite low, but sarcasm means she was not very you can say polite in her words. So that was a hidden thing कि अपना गुस्सा भी दिखाना चाहती हैं बट टोन उनकी क्या थी, बहुत ही polite थी. So that is enough. If you have not learned, you must begin at once. So she did not even pay attention to what this little girl wanted to say, and she concluded that if you have not learned the language so far, you must begin at once, means you must start learning now. The French master, Monsieur, it's not Monsieur beta, it's Monsieur, or the pronunciation is quite different from the words as they seem there. It's Monsieur Defarge. Monsieur is similar to the word sir, or you can say Mr. When you use it with a name, you can say Mr. Otherwise, Monsieur itself means sir. Will be here. So Mr. Defarge is actually a French teacher there. He takes French lessons for the children. Will be here in a few minutes. Take this book and look at it until he arrives. And she gives the book and asks her to go through it. Now I shall continue in my third session for the rest of the chapter.